All the work is done by contract. Each gang taking a piece of ground on speculation is paid according to the amount of ore produced. The ore averaging about 36%. For quicksilver, although some pieces that I dug myself produced 75%. Many mines in Europe have been profitably worked when the cinnabar has yielded only 1%. A shrill whistle rings through the mine. The miners from all directions rush towards the pillar. Thinking at last the entire concern was tumbling in, I was about to scamper off when the guide seizing my arm dragged me behind a projecting mass of rock, simply saying, "A blast!" For a while there was a death-like silence, not a sound save the hiss of the fuse and the heavy breathing of the men. Then the cave lighted up with a lurid flash, shedding a blinding glare over every object, like tropical lightning. The dark galleries appeared and disappeared in the twinkling of an eye, whilst the report, like countless cannon, was echoed and re-echoed throughout the cavernous chamber. Showers of fragments came rattling down in every direction, hurled up by the force of the powder. On the roke, smoke clearing, the miners set to work to collect the scattered fragments of cinnabar. If a blast had been successful, often many tons of rock were loosened and torn out, to be broken into small pieces and conveyed into the bucket, and hauled by the engine to the surface. The mining operations are continued night and day, 74 pounds of candle being consumed every 24 hours. I finished the survey of the singular mine perfectly free from foul air or fire damp. Ascend as I came down, and by vigorous rubbing with soap water, I am slowly restored from bright vermilion to my normal color. The ore, on reaching the surface, is conveyed by the tram cart to the sorting shed, where it is broken and carefully picked over by skillful hands. Great caution being needed in selection, as much valuable ore might be thrown away or a large quantity of useless rock taken to smelting furnaces. The picked ore is placed in large bags made of sheepskin, weighed and then hauled by the mule to the lower works. Near the mine is a primitive kind of village, the abode of the miners, sorters, and ore carriers, who are principally Mexicans. Senoras in ragged finery, dirty children devoid of garments, together with dogs, pigs, and poultry, and idle miners playing monte on the doorsteps contrast sadly with the exquisite little village at the works. Ascending from the mine to the level ground by a short track down the hillside, through scenery indescribably picturesque, I reached the smelting furnaces. These, occupying about 4 acres of land, are built of brick, admirably neat and well contrived, as quicksilver is found in several forms, namely native quicksilver occurring in small drops in the pores or on the ledges of the other rocks, argental mercury, a native silver amalgam, and sulfide of mercury or cinnabar. Different processes are requisite for its reduction. Here it is found solely in the form of cinnabar, and to reduce it, a kind of reverberatory furnace is used. 3 feet by 5, placed at the end of a series of chambers, each chamber 7 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 5 feet high. About 10 of these chambers are arranged in a line, built of brick, plastered inside, and secured by transverse rods of iron, fitted at the ends with screws and nuts to allow for expansion. The top is of broiler iron, securely luted. The first chamber is the furnace for fire, the second for ores, separated from the first by a grated partition, allowing the flame to pass through and play over the cinnabar. This ore chamber, when filled, contains 10,000 pounds of cinnabar. The remaining chambers are for condensing the metal, communicating by square hole at the opposite corner, for instance, the light upper corner and lower left, and vice versa, so that the vapor has to perform a spiral course in its transit through the condensers. Leaving the chambers, the vapor is conducted through a large wooden cistern, into which a shower of water continually falls, and thence through a long flue and tall chimney, carried far away up the hillside. The mercury is collected, as condensed in gutters running into a long conduit outside of the building, from which it drops into an iron pot sunk into the earth. As the pot filled, the mercury is conveyed to a store tank that holds 20 tons. So great is its density that a man sitting on a flat board floats about in the tank on a lake of mercury without its flowing over the edges of the raft. From this tank, the metal is ladled out and poured into iron flasks containing each 70 pounds. The flags are made in England and sent to New Almaden. In this state, it is shipped for the various markets. Although every possible care has been taken to prevent the mercurial flumes from